Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Latest thing that I just ordered is the QTP QuickTime Performance cutout. So I got a 3-inch cutout, which is going to be easily weldable onto a 2.75 stock exhaust pipe. The electric cutout with the switch and the wires. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure how long the wire is. That was one of the questions I had when I was looking at people's videos about this, like how long is the wire? Where can I place this cutout at underneath the car and still have enough wiring to run up inside the car? Let's get into these boxes here. 3-inch cutout pipe. One thing I think I will order is a turn down pipe. Turn down for what? So that way you can direct exactly where the exhaust is blowing, so you don't have it like blowing up under the car, making the undercarriage hot, or blowing exhaust all over it, having carbon build up on one spot on your car like you would see on your muffler tips underneath your bumper. If you're looking to do a cutout, you can just pop this in. You can get this welded right in there, and then you can unbolt this plate every single time that you want that extra noise. That's pretty decent quality, basic piping. Now let's get into the electronics here. Lots of packaging, that's good. Keep things protected. Alright, what we got in here? It feels like the throttle body. And it's got the wire already connected. Very nice. So you would get this piece, you're gonna hook it up into there. Just like so, with that plate off, of course. Should be a gasket in there too. So when you hit the switch, this will open up. And this is the switch for it. So what I'm looking to do is I'm going to try to use a factory switch out of convertible Camaros, so that way it'll look like just a regular stock switch. So that way this won't be seen anywhere inside. Because I'm all about like the aesthetics of the vehicle looking as stock as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this wire, see how long it is. Let's get that going. Let's check this out. 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet, 9 feet, 16. Almost 17 feet from the end of the throttle body all the way where the end of the toggle switch goes. That's longer than the length of the Vette. Look at that 3-inch diameter. This thing is going to rock. All right, here we go. Car's getting lifted. Gonna see about putting this cutout right on that exhaust pipe. Get this going. She looked like she could use a good wash underneath. SS Camaro. Don't know about you guys, but I love the smell of burning metal. All right, first start. All right, here's my plan to run the wire from underneath the car from the cutout into the vehicle. There's a hole that's under the passenger seat and they're covered up by these plugs. I pulled this plug from a junkyard Camaro because I really don't like messing with the original parts on my car. So I pulled out a couple of these because I'm going to drill a hole in this and run the wire through it, and then I'm going to silicone it off to keep water from rushing up into the car. So just going to drill a hole there, run that wire through so it goes from underneath the back seat under the carpet and into the center console. Got the console pulled out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up this seat, the plug's under that seat, and I'm going to remove the plug that's in there now, drill a hole in the plug that I pulled from the junkyard car, run the wire through it, silicone it off. If you have a non-convertible F-body 97-02, you're going to have a cubby right here. So I pulled this out, which is just a little storage bin that goes right into that console, and that's where I'm going to be putting the switch. So I got this from a convertible Camaro, and it's going to fit right in there. And then I'm going to run the switch to it, or the wiring to the back of that switch, and I'll be using that for the exhaust cutout. So that way it will have a factory look to it without that weird switch that it comes with. And plus, this switch is a lot easier to deal with. The other one, you have to put some force into it. And I just like the aesthetics that it's just going to look like a factory piece. All right, what I'm doing here is I'm running the wire underneath the carpet. So here's the end that's going to go right to the cutout underneath the car. And then this is the part that's going to go to the switch. So I'm just running it underneath, and in there, be careful when you lift up this carpet, you don't want to tear it. See that plug down there? I'm going to pop that out, and I'm going to use that other plug, drill a hole in it, and run that wire through. Because right underneath it is pretty much where the exhaust cutout is at. And I'm just going to run this wire all the way up to the front underneath the panel. All right, so here's the rubber grommet. Drill a little hole and then cut an X pattern in it, or cross pattern, however you want to look at it. And then I'm going to run this down into that hole right there. And then it'll feed the wire through the bottom. All right, so there's a wire hanging out right there, and there's the cutout. So it was perfect placement for that cutout right there, because there's this open space in between the front and rear seat area. So you got that little galley there, so it fits real nice. So I'm going to put the throttle on there, the throttle body, and wire it all up. I'm amazed even at myself right now. That could not have worked out any better. So this is just long enough to hang out right here, and enough slack to be pulled in to where this isn't really hanging down at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that up and get some silicone around it. Get this thing going. This is great. Got that wire running up from underneath, and I ran it down here by the seatbelt, and I'm running it up under this panel. Just gonna run it all the way towards the front. So I'm just gonna run it up underneath and have it come out right up here in the front underneath the center console of the dash. All right, my plan is to not splice into the wire harness inside the car, so I'm gonna use one of these since it is a 12-volt accessory, and Walmart, $3, not bad. So I'm gonna be using this as a power source. So I'll just plug in my cutout when I want to use it. I'm gonna be using this adapter for the vehicle. So according to the instructions on the back of the packaging, there's a stripe on one of the wires, which is for the positive, and you're gonna hook that up to the positive of the switch. So I got these wire connectors, which I'm going to crimp these on there. And there's also a window on the inside of certain wire connectors to where you can see how far the wire goes in there. So these do line up pretty good. Just make sure those are nice and pinched. So this is not exposed, so what I'm going to do is use the wire stripper to unsheath. Get that exposed, you're going to want to twist it up. Get yourself a connector. Put it on through, the smallest size so you can crimp it much tighter. And now we're going to hook up the negative end of the switch. Go ahead and place it in there as tight as you can get it. Make sure it's nice and tight. And this part is going to go into the wire that's already inside the car that runs into the throttle body for the cutout. So we're just going to plug this into the accessories and just use that switch to open and close. And this way, I won't have to hardwire anything into the harness of the vehicle. Gonna give this a quick test here. So I got the cigarette lighter plugged back in. This also has a LED indicator on it. So when I put it in, it should light up. Let's see if I can hear any noise. I'm not gonna start the car. If I can hear any noise from the throttle body. Yep, it's working. Perfect. All right, here we go. This will be the first test with this switch setup. Oh, there it goes. Oh, she's getting loud. Yeah, buddy. All I got to do is put everything back together, hide that switch, and then just be able to plug in that accessories when I want to use the cutout. This way I didn't cut into that harness. Originally, I wanted to use that factory switch for the convertible. My friend was looking at it for me, and he said that it might not be able to handle the voltage that would go through it, and it might melt the switch. So we might try to do like a relay for it later on. So that'll be a totally different video. I hope that it does work, because I've seen it done on other Camaros, specialty Camaros. Just have to find out exactly how they did it to not melt anything. Got some Permatex black silicone, so I'm going to be using that to seal off that plug down in there. So I'm just going to pretty much smother the whole top of that plug. So I'm just going to fill it up nice, let it sit for about 24 hours before I put that seat back down on top of it. Just make sure none of that sticks to the carpet. And that'll be it for that. This is not exactly easy to do with the carpet in the way and being one-handed trying to hold the camera and trying to do this. So I'm just gonna get this done and then I'll show you the end result. All right, I did kind of a botched job on the bottom here, but it's all right. More water protection, right? So I just wanted to cover all that up and make sure no water gets in the inside of it. And then got some silicone on the top here as well, just to keep all that water from rushing in. Right, I got the seat in place, kind of elevated, so that way it doesn't smash down the carpet onto that silicone. Got it all put back together, so anytime that I just want to use that cutout, go ahead, plug it in, hit that switch, and I'm good to go. And then when I'm done, just unplug it. Alright, that's it. She's all bundled up. I hope you enjoyed that video. I had a great time. I think it's a great mod to do to pretty much any vehicle. And that's it.
Chemical spores.